All right, Miles, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers here for a little bit. Look, this is a Steelers team coming to the offseason. We expected big changes, or at least one big change in particular on the coaching staff, especially on the offensive side. It didn't happen. It surprised a lot of people, but there is news that you have out of Pittsburgh that explains exactly why they made the decision they did. And I know Steelers fans will definitely be excited to hear exactly why they made that decision, to a lot of people's surprise. But before we get into that, Steelers fans, we want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Obviously, the Steelers are not going to the Super Bowl this season, but there are 4 teams still left in it. We're going to championship weekend. Let us know in the comment section below what team you want to win the Super Bowl. I think this is an interesting question. Do you want your in-state fellow team, the Eagles, to get it? Do you want the 49ers to potentially tie you at number 6? Division rival Cincinnati Bengals and the big top dog in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs. Let us know in the comment section below who you really want to win the Super Bowl this season. But all right, Miles, give us the latest out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Nick, when you put it that way, the most neutral answer probably seems like Philadelphia would be, the most neutral. You don't want the Niners to encroach, and you don't want the Bengals to go for sure. And then, Kansas City, probably keep the AFC out. So
Yeah.
Eagles seem the most neutral. But
I feel like there's no good answer there.
yeah, not really. If it's not the Steelers, what is a good answer? But nonetheless, Nick, the Steelers, as you alluded to, did keep Matt Canada as offensive coordinator. And last week we kind of talked about it here just a moment of why Kenny Pickett was excited for this to happen. And, that all of the good things Kenny Pickett was saying about Canada, and people might have been, that's all nice and good, but I still want to know the reasoning behind what happened. And owner Art Rooney has come out and talked about exactly why his decision to keep Matt Canada was made, and kind of, the thought process behind it. And, honestly, Nick, when you dive into it, it's pretty simple. He said, after the second half of the season, Pickett and Canada seemed to work well together. They didn't want to get a new offensive coordinator and have to start the whole system all over again. They gelled. Pickett, after week 9, he threw 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception, so that's not so bad. And he said there's a lot of stuff to build on there, and he just wants to keep the continuity going as they go 7-2 down the stretch to end up that season at a miraculous 9-8. Because seeing at the beginning of the season, I say miraculous, you were not expecting that outcome. So it kind of makes sense. Give Pickett some more continuity, stability in his ability to grow. Keep him in the same playbook. Don't switch up things so early on his career so much. That kind of seems like the downfall of a lot of young quarterbacks. So I commend Rooney for making the best business decision. He can see further ahead. He can kind of see what's going on. And it really makes sense. What do you think about all of that, Nick?
Yeah, so I'm going to keep saying it until I get blue in the face. Quarterback play matters. It's the only thing that matters. And when it comes to building your team, you have to do everything possible to make your quarterback's job as easy as it can be. We see this at San Francisco 49ers, right? They obviously have a super stacked team. Kyle Shanahan calls plays. So Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy can look like a Hall of Fame guy back there. You saw the Eagles build their offense around Jalen Hurts. Obviously, the Chiefs have built some kind of a juggernaut that we maybe haven't seen before in NFL history, tailoring everything to Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow in Cincinnati is another example of that. You have to do everything possible to make your quarterback comfortable, because that's, when it comes down to it, really the only thing that matters. And down the stretch, like you alluded to, Kenny Pickett played really well. And in fact, if you look at the whole season as a collective, according to PFF, Kenny Pickett was actually right about average. If you look at his grades, he's ahead of guys like Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill, Kyler Murray, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, Sam Darnold, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. Justin Fields, Mac Jones, right? He's ahead of a lot of guys that aren't facing some of these questions on the offensive side that the Steelers are facing. So I think that is sort of a positive indicator that there is momentum going in that direction. And when you have that momentum and you have a quarterback that's feeling comfortable, the worst thing you can do is upset that. And that's the one thing that's kind of a weird catch-22 here, because it's clear Matt Canada, at least to me watching the Steelers play, doesn't appear to be on the same level as play callers, offensive coordinator, to put it mildly, as the guys in San Francisco, as the guys in Kansas City, right? But if your quarterback is comfortable, that's probably enough to make you want to stick with him, because the last thing you want to do is make Kenny Pickett feel unstable, out of his element. We saw what happened with Tua, right? He felt unstable, out of his element under Brian Flores in Miami. McDaniel comes in and suddenly Tua looks like an MVP candidate. That's how fast that switch can be. So if there's any risk at all that moving off Canada would have stifled Kenny Pickett's growth, I think they made the right call sticking with him, as hard as it is to say.